I offer my humble pranams to our beloved Bhagawan, Lord Sathya Sai Baba. I would like to tell you something about Christmas celebrations, which I'm involved for many years, from I think 2004. I came to Prasanthi in 1995 in December, also on Christmas time. And with my second and third journey, I discovered that there is a Christmas choir. And Christmas choir. And I'm not very pushy person, so I wanted to see how it works, and I was shy initially to approach. And after 2 years, I think, of torturing myself, should I come or not, I came to Sylvia, who was in that time director, and I was entering a room, double-decker room, yes, and I said, I'm sorry to interrupt, I'm a violinist. Maybe you will need someone on the female side to play violin. And everyone jumped and said, oh, please come, did you bring your violin? I said, no, I didn't know that I have to bring my violin. And they said, so if you find violin tomorrow, you will be, if Swami wants you to be, you will come. So I desperately ran through ashram and remembered that there is a music shop. So I went there and I said, by any chance, do you have a violin? And they said, no, we don't sell violin. We sell strings, but not violin. And then a young man who was owner of a shop said, wait a minute, my grandmother was playing violin, and I remember there is a violin in house. So I will run, and please wait for me, and I will bring you that violin. And I was thinking in which condition will it be this violin, but anyway, I was hopeful that it will work. So he, maybe after 20 minutes, he was back, brought the violin, and I could see it was not broken. So I asked him to change for new strings, and he had a bow, so I bought whatever was needed and rosin, and next morning I was there. No one believed that I could find the violin. So that was fantastic beginning of my journey. Miracles happened that I found violin, and I thought, okay, maybe Swami is pleased with me that I offered my service. So after that, for many years I was playing violin. And after Sylvia, next person was Gisela from Germany, and then Krishnaveni. And in 2016, I was asked to lead the choir, which I was very surprised, but in the same time very excited because I thought I could bring some of my music background expertise, and I every year try to make program interesting, exciting, bring something new. I think this year was also resulting in bringing Anna Louv to sing to us on 23rd, which was very well accepted, and I was asked again next year. So hopefully, with Swami's grace, we will be here. We will wait a whole year to come here again and perform for everyone and bring joy on these Christmas holidays.
Keeping their sheep on a cold winter's night that was so deep. Noel, 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 Noel. Born is the King of Israel. Noel, 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 Noel. Born is the King of Israel.
I would also like to tell you my journey to Swami, to someone who now represents everything to me. I heard about Swami when I was living in Bosnia in 1992, first time, from my friend who went to India and called me, and he said, I know you always have a kind of sixth sense, and in my group of friends, they call me a little witch because of that, which in that time in Yugoslavia, I thought everyone has premonitions or everyone has developed a sense of maybe what can happen. But because it was a country which children are growing without any religious knowledge, I never thought about that. Neither I thought that I'm different from other people in that sense. Anyway, my friend came back from India and said, please phone me and said, please come for a coffee and I want to show you something. So I came and he opened a little paper in which was powder. And I knew there was nothing wrong in that powder. So he said, please smell and tell me something which is the first thing what is in your mind. So I smelled vibhuti, and out of my unconsciousness popped two memories. One was, I remember 1 year, I was 1 year old because we lived in a city where I was born in Montenegro, in former Yugoslavia, only 1 year. And the other memory was I was around 3 years old. And in both of those memories, I felt very loved and protected. And I said, it is so strange when you smell something, it reminds you of perfume or of flower or sometimes of taste or some food. I said, but it's so strange, this smell of love and protection. And my friend said, oh, you are really witch. I said, why? And he said, oh, this is materialized by one holy person in India. And I said, materialized? I never heard that word before, and it was strange for me. And he said, I have a book, I will give you a book, and you can read about that person. So I read it was book Men of Miracles. And I closed the last page, and I simply in my thoughts said, who knows, maybe once in my life I will meet that person. And after that I completely forgot about Swami. So 2 years later, I lost all family in Bosnian War, and I escaped to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And after a year of working in a Sinfonica Brasileira as a co-leader, I discovered that we have 55 days of paid summer holidays. And I have very good friend who is a professor of university, and he is Buddhist, and he said, why we don't travel to Mexico? And I always wanted to see pyramids in Mexico. Until now I didn't see them, but doesn't matter. So he said, we can go from Brazil easily to Mexico. And I said, yes, okay, I have a holiday, so let's go. And we went into a tourist agency, and I asked, how much is ticket to India? And my friend looked at me and said, why are you asking about India? I said, I absolutely don't have a clue. It simply came out of my mouth. So luckily we discovered that traveling to India was 2 times more cheap than traveling to Mexico. And for a person who was starting new life, of course, money, financial side was very important. So I said, why we don't go to India? I always wanted to go to India. So we decided to go from Kathmandu all the east part of India, from temple to temple, and then west, and when we finish our journey, go back to Brazil. And it happened that after almost a month of traveling, we were I was sitting in a little place called Kovalam Beach, watching beautiful green Indian Ocean. And I was lost in my thought, thinking how enormous is this planet and how beautiful is this planet. And while I was thinking about these big distances in universe and where is our place of our little planet in universe, suddenly in front of me appeared Swami. And I was shocked because I remember the face, I remember the book that I read many years ago. And I look at him with big surprise, and he simply said, listen, everyone has to find their way alone. And now I kick myself many times. I could ask any question, Swami, but I simply say, sir, why are you talking to me in English? And he disappeared. So I ran back to hotel to tell my friend. And he said, no, I don't want to go there. He's a charlatan. I don't want to go there. And I said, maybe you don't want to go, but I want to go because I need to find answers. Why this happened to me, why I lost everything, country, language, friends, everything what I had and worked hard for. And whole my family that I loved. So I said, I must go and ask. So my friend said, okay, I will go, but you have only one darshan. After that, we are leaving. So we arrived, it was around 1 o'clock here. I came to office and I said, here is my passport. My name is Tatjana Goldberg. Tatjana Grubic in that time. And I would like to talk to Swami. And of course, everyone laughed because it was obvious that I didn't know anything. So they tell me, no, it doesn't work like that. If Swami wants to talk to you, he will tell you to come. You have to go to ladies' side and wait in the queue. So I sat in a queue with so many ladies. In front of me was beautiful lady. She was combing her hair, and I was thinking, why she's combing her hair? If she did something wrong, you should think what you have done until now in your life. And in that moment, she turned to me and said, oh, sweetie, I have 2 cushions, and you are sitting on the floor. Please take one. And I said, Tanya, this is your first spiritual lesson. You have to think good about people. So she taught me that lesson. And then I discovered that she is also refugees. And I said, out of hundreds of people who are here, thousands, how I'm sitting with the same, with the person who has a similar destiny as me. So we started to talk, and she said she's living in France. Actually, she was from Poland. And she told me, maybe Swami won't give you interview. You should find paper and pencil. So she found for me paper and pencil, and I wrote all my wishes to Swami. And by good luck, we were in 4th queue, and I thought Swami will definitely call me for interview. So it happens that I was sitting and waiting and looking around, and next to me was a lady who has a brain tumor, another lost husband from cancer. I was with my tragedy, and I was looking all these heads of people, sea of heads in front of me, and I was thinking, my Lord, I'm only one drop in a human tragedy. Everyone has their tragedy. Everyone has, and I said, but I lost everything, but I don't feel lost at all. And how I finished that thought, Swami appeared. And of course, ego starts to, so I was there with my letter asking, Swami, please take my letter, please take my... He came 4 times. He was very close distance to me. He never looked at me. He never took my letter. And I left my letter with that lady. And I went back home, and then many other stories were happening. I will say immediately my second journey to India was next year, also from Brazil. And it was interesting because I wanted to come to Prasanthi, but there is no trains or buses which are having... We are going to Prasanthi, so I didn't know how to find. So I was hoping someone will said something about Swami, and then I will ask them how to go there. And my friend said, I'm not going to help you. If you find the way, we are going. If you don't find, we have, after some amount of days, go to north of India. So for me, it was interesting fact that how many places we were going through India. In each place I met one woman who I thought she must be English, but she was walking in a sari, and she had knowledge of local language, which was surprise to me. So that morning, it was last morning before we were moving to Mumbai, and suddenly my friend said, you see, you didn't find anyone, so that's it, we are going toward north. And in that moment, she passed we were sitting eating breakfast in a restaurant, and she passed next to my table and went to waitress. And I didn't understand because she was speaking local language, but I heard word Puttaparthi. So I said to my friend, she is definitely going to Puttaparthi. And I jumped and I came to her and I said, I'm so sorry, I'm desperate to go to Puttaparthi. I don't know how, can you please help me, because I heard you said that word. And she said, oh, there is no problem. I have minibus. I have two free places. How many of you? And I said, there are only 2 of us. And she said, yeah, tomorrow morning at 7:30, be here in front of hotel. And I said, oh, can you please tell me your name? And she said, my name is Fate. So I came back to my friend and I said, Swami sent me a minibus to take us to Prasanthi, and with a person whose name is Fate. And it was so deep message, personal message to me. And after that happened that I moved to England, and I married violinist Nigel Goldberg, who everyone knows because he played violin here in the choirs. And his destiny and my destiny was, I always think, due to Swami. Because in 1999, I remember I was sitting on Copacabana beach, and I was suddenly struck by the fact that I said, Swami, I know that people constantly talk to you and they ask you this and that. I never ask you anything. I simply believe that you exist, and I believe that you are with me, but I never communicate in ways of thoughts. I communicate only through my heart, that's all. And I said, Swami, if you think that I should continue in the spiritual way, I'm perfectly fine with that. And if not, then please send me someone but I don't want to happen, like in stories for children. Prince come on a white horse. I said, Swami, not prince coming, not even horses, only donkeys. So I said, Swami, please send me not donkey, send me a prince. And it happened that on 15th of February, I met Nigel. He came, we have a common friend in Brazil, and he came to visit her. And we clicked immediately together. And soon after that, I was on 11th in July in England. And continued to live in England for last 23 years. And when I was thinking how I'm going to explain to Nigel about spiritual path, about healing, about Swami, it was very easy because Nigel's grandfather was famous healer in England, so they didn't have any problem with my involvement in healing. And when I thought about Swami, he said, when I was growing up in Leeds, at the end of our road, there was a shop and owned by Indian people, and they were selling incense, Swami's incense. And I always look at the face of that was on this incense bucket, and I was thinking, who is that man? Maybe I will see him once in my life. So when I said I'm going every year to Prasanthi, he said, I'm so fed up with Christmas in England. It is so materialistic. And I can't stand anymore these Christmas songs and all this atmosphere. So let's go to India. And the most funny thing was, I said, Swami, I was always struck with the sense of humor. So when we were approaching and entering in Prasanthi Nilayam, on all amplifier was song, Jingle Bells, Jingle Bells. And I said, Swami, this is fantastic joke. So Nigel was surprised, how is this? And I said, yes, there is a Christmas choir. So finally I took courage and I went first year without Nigel. And then next year he also joined. And from then on we are all time coming together here and enjoying this highlight of our year, coming to Prasanthi. And this year, I have to say, 2 years were difficult of COVID, but I knew that it was difficult for everyone. But last year was difficult simply because I was thinking, why we can come only one time to Prasanthi? Can we come more? And I didn't know how to organize, what to do. And we were waiting, counting days and hours. And from September, we were in agony, waiting to come here and see people and experience this bliss and joy, which is so difficult to translate to many people there. A lot of my students know about Swami. They know that we go to India, and my secret wish is that maybe I will sometimes bring someone of them to experience the same thing. So we will see how it will go develop. But it's definitely greatest gift that and grace that we received from Swami.
How do you feel, Swami, back at your home?
You always feel presence of Swami, and especially when something is difficult, then you know that he is with you, and you don't have doubts. The good thing is that people usually feel anxious, or I know it will be sorted. I learn not to have expectations. I learned that it will be done in a way Swami wants, and if he wants, that will happen. So that's when I said I'm not pushy person, because I think if Swami wants, he will push me there, and it will happen. And if he doesn't want, that's fine. I don't know why, but that's the path that Swami has for me. As he said, everyone has to have their path alone. So I belong to Swami, and I know that it will be what is written for me, not more, not less.
And you have celebrated Christmas before in so many other places. You have led choirs in other countries and other ceremonies for Christmas. But when you compare that to being in Prasanthi and leading the choir here,
yeah,
how do you
when
feel?
I was young in Yugoslavia, we never have Christmas. So idea of celebrating Christmas was very strange for me. And when we came here, it became so natural, because the joy of people being together, singing songs, and there is no comparison. This is unique place where people from all faiths, from many countries come. No one forced them to come. It is power of divine love in action, that we all come here and we celebrate this unique Christmas and helping each other, enjoying in music. I always feel that Christmas choir for many places have an important message to give to everyone in words of songs, in music, which is also energy of love. So I cannot imagine better job that we are doing here, and people in Prasanthi made us feel so welcomed, and simply there is no words. I always say, my student asks me how it is there, and I said, it is how you can describe taste to someone or color to someone. You have to know, your heart has to know this. And once you know, you long forever for that. That's my feeling.
You are blessed to be a musician, and they say music is one of the sweetest and the shortest ways to connect with God. Tell us about music, your life, God, and spirituality.
So people say I'm a musician. You see, when I was small, I started to play violin because of my father. My mother was an amateur pianist, and in Yugoslavia was organized that you have primary school and primary music school. So my mother decided that me and my sister should started going to school, and I was very active. Maybe nowadays they said hyperactive, because I was everywhere except on earth, or everywhere where I could climb. I climbed. I don't know how many times I fall and still didn't break anything. This was miracle again. So they decided. My father took me to school and said, which instrument will make her the most tired? They said, probably violin. He said, she's going to play the violin. And in my mind, I thought, it was great. I move a lot. So that's how my love toward violin started. And then it developed. But because I was going to grammar school and music school, I loved physics. And I was torn between going to study in Zagreb in Croatia nuclear physics and violin. And it happened that in May I got a call from Ministry of Culture, and they said, you won some competitions. We would like you to try to go and do entry exam for Moscow Conservatory. So I went there, and I grew up in a very small city in Croatia, and I was thinking, if anyone will pass the exam, it will be people from Belgrade or Zagreb, from capital cities. And I simply I went on entry exam. I passed exam, but I didn't know the word of Russian. So they said you need to go 2 years before conservatory, which I agreed. And so I did 2 years of secondary music school, last 2 years, and then 5 years of conservatory. And from then on, violin was forever in my hands. It became my profession. I played a lot, brought me to many countries. I met many people. It helped me to find different sides of myself, because music is one part of research inside, to dig deep and find emotions that you didn't know exist, to find power of melody, power of music as a communication from heart. I and then to bring me this little box is responsible also that Swami brought me here. So yes, it is. I never am in hands without violin. Yes, that was definitely something which helped me in my way to Swami.
Yeah, if you can, there are so many carols that were sung. Can you play for us any other carol which you connect with the meaning of it, or the way the carol conveys? You feel you're offering it to Swami. Is there anything else that you would like to play?
I would like to sing.
Oh, please, most welcome.
I don't have good voice. I always thought, oh my God, Swami, you put me. I have to say this also. My first time when I was asked to do, to conduct choir, and I stood and I said, how am I going to sing? I don't have an amazing voice. I can pitch well, but should I use violin? And I said, no, I'm going to sing. And then when I finished singing first verse and teaching choir, a woman in a choir put up hand and I said, yes, please, what would you like to say? And she said, can Krishna Veni sing for us? I was thinking, thank you, Swami. So I said, I'm sorry. I think I will improve. So I will continue to teach. And so Krishna Sveni said, no way, you have to sing. So I think I developed my singing a little better. I always finish my speeches, always this melody. These melodies, for some reason, came to me 2 years ago. And I think it's truth for me. So I will try to sing it. In your name sigh, in your name sigh, in your holy name love will prevail. In your name sigh, in your name sigh, in your holy name peace will reign.
Beautiful. Your final message, remarks to all of us in the media center and all the devotees who are watching you and who are so happy that you were leading the Christmas choir.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sairam. My final message is trust Swami. He will bring you wherever you need to be. And you have to have faith that that is your journey. And when you are in peace with yourself, you will find God.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Sairam, Sairam.